Hello everyone, I'm here to talk to you today about Tater Incorporated and the future of potatoes. Before we begin, who is Tater Incorporated? Tater Incorporated, based in the Triangle, is the premier innovator in potato-based products. We manufacture a few you've maybe heard of, like Tater's Chips and Tater's Chips Vegan. We're 450 strong and growing, and we're using that growth to keep putting back into our North Carolina agricultural industry. We only use locally grown North Carolina potatoes, and we're only ever going to use those going forward. The future is a little scary with all the cyber attacks, and we are at risk too, especially with Windows 7 as our primary OS. Windows 7, soon to no longer be supported by Microsoft, is a huge risk to the security of our operations. The best way to move forward from this is move towards a future without Windows, and that means moving towards Linux, specifically KBE Plasma version 5. It's an accessible form of Linux, more familiar to the Windows user, with a wide variety of apps to choose from. Free and open source, meaning we could implement it very cheaply, and no longer being bound to the Microsoft licenses and subscriptions that cost us so much money to operate. Any Windows systems that we could not lose, like Windows Server 2012 R2, could be consolidated into a VM environment on our new KDE Plasma workstations using VirtualBox. We have a lot of options to choose from here, but KBE Plasma is the right one for us. Implementing a new OS across our entire company seems intimidating, risky, but we can do so with limited downtime. Downtime is the biggest threat to our two departments, shipping and receiving, as well as main processing. They are the biggest part of our daily operations, so we would prioritize them in a phase 1 rollout. Departments like admin, finance, sales, R&D, and IT offices will be prioritized in phase 2. And the facilities and maintenance are at the lowest priority, phase 3. Leaving Windows for Linux can seem pretty intimidating. I was intimidated too. I'm not really a Linux user, so KDE's accessibility was really good for me. KDE is a community-supported and open-source version of Linux. It was started 25 years ago by volunteers and has since branched off into many other products. KDE Plasma is one of these products, designed for desktops. It's been updated continually for 7 years, and it got updated as recently as the 14th of October, 2021. With Windows 7's known critical vulnerabilities, we need to move forward for the sake of our operations and for the sake of our future. Here's a few ways KDE can help our IT department improve our workspace. The low cost to implement and the low cost to maintain will improve our daily operations. The familiar format will mean that our users aren't totally bewildered by a new operating system, both the common user and the IT department. A wide variety of options in native and downloadable apps mean we will never be without an alternative to what we were using on Windows. There's many options in terms of customizing our security framework, making sure we can meet that security demand and fight off hackers. The KDE community has supported a very detailed wiki that our technicians could refer to. Plasma 5 supports many things and also offers a one-to-one replacement to most of Microsoft Office. So, without further ado, let me try and show you what we've been working on. As you can see, we have recorded this on the VM. That's a little bit of a demo for what our new corporate environment will look like. There's a few native programs on the desktop here, as well as some of the ones I installed. I'll explain why I installed each of them. This is the first one I installed. It's called Workrave. It's a little bit of a reminder to help workers not hurt themselves. And as you can see, they have ample resources to plan their week. So this is Workrave again, and the way it works is it's going to remind me in about 3 minutes to take a little bit of a break to make sure I don't hurt my hands. This is going to be for our workers who are working long hours in the office. This is VirtualBox, which is where I envision we will be virtualizing our servers for future use. That way we can take advantage of a Linux environment on all of our computers, but not give up our Windows servers. This is Timekeeper. This is going to be the framework of our time clock system and making sure each worker is measured for what they do at work. You could customize roles here as a manager as well, and track inactive sessions. This is SpeedCrunch. This is a special scientific calculator I downloaded with our accounting and finance department in mind. It's going to be used in conjunction with LibreOffice, which is basically, if you've ever used Excel, this is what you're using here as well. It's a spreadsheet program. All the necessary tools here are already loaded in by default into this version of KDE. So we have a lot of native replacements for Windows already loaded in. But back to SpeedCrunch, this is something that I downloaded that I thought would help our department. It has a lot of functions here, as well as like a formula book and different kinds of scientific functions they could use for our more complex problems. And Thunderbird is the last thing we're going to be looking at here. It's going to be the replacement for Microsoft Outlook. It's going to have all the things we need. We have a chat, an address book, of course email, many RSS feed settings you could set to make sure all of our workers are up to date with all the necessary information. And with that being said, I think that has been a complete demo. Thank y'all. So, in conclusion, before we leave today, I would like you guys to take some things home from this. One of those things is that Linux does not have to be unfamiliar, and KDE Plasma 5 has a very accessible UI. Also, in the process of doing this, we are going to eliminate the cost of software, saving a lot of money not having to buy Windows. We need to remember that Windows 7 is very vulnerable in today's modern age, and it's not being supported is kind of the death blow. We need to move forward. We can quickly implement this, limiting downtime using virtualization to expedite the whole process. KDE Plasma 5 is an environment that excels on desktops and laptops. I'm using it on my laptop right now. And KDE Plasma 5 has a lower system requirement than Windows 7, needing a little bit more overhead, allowing us to operate a little bit more efficiently. Thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me, and I hope you all have a great day.